Replacing the fan. Step 1 is to shut off all power to the heat pump for safety. Then remove the front cover from the heat pump. Remove these 2 screws to open the enclosure, exposing the capacitor and some of the switches underneath. Now we'll begin to cut the wires attached to the fan motor. We're cutting these wires and leaving a little bit of the colored wire attached so it'll be easy for you to know where all the wires go back when you're finished. Now remove the cable tie that holds the wires together as shown. Next, ground the fan capacitor's leads with a needle nose plier or a screwdriver by touching them and touching the back wall of the heater as shown. This will discharge any stored electricity in the fan capacitor. Next, cut the 2 wires from the top of the fan capacitor as shown. Now cut the front left black wire from the contactor as shown. Then cut the white wire from the upper right of the fan relay as shown here. If you get confused, trace the wires from the fan motor so you can see which wires need to be disconnected. Now begin to unscrew the fan from the top of the heat pump. Then carefully lift the fan and the motor off of the unit. The wires, since you've disconnected them, should all come off with it. To replace the fan, use an adjustable crescent wrench to loosen the bolt holding the fan blade to the shaft. Use the edge of the adjustable crescent wrench to scrape off all the rust from the shaft. This shaft is new, so we're simulating scraping the rust. You'll probably find rust and corrosion on the shaft. If not removed, it will hinder you from removing the fan blade. Then hold the shaft with the crescent wrench as you spin the motor and work the fan blade upwards. Take your wrench and put it underneath the blade and continue to move the fan blade upwards until it is removed from the shaft. This next part should never be done over grass or mulch. Do it over concrete or a solid surface. This will help you avoid losing the hardware that we're about to take off. To remove the fan motor, cut the cable tie holding the wires from the fan motor. Next, remove the hardware holding the fan motor onto the fan grate. Be careful not to lose any of the small pieces. Remember to loosen the top lug nut last. That way, gravity will hold everything in place until you're ready to remove the motor. Loosen the top lug nut just a little and push the lower ones in to remove any stuck remaining hardware. These washers sometimes get stuck. Now hold the weight of the motor as you remove the top and last lug nut. The order in which you reinstall the hardware is as shown: 2 flat washers, then a lock washer, and then the lug nut. hold the new motor and install it on the fan grate. Then attach 2 flat washers, the lock washer, and hand tighten the lug nut. Attach the top lug nut first so that gravity holds the motor in place. Now reinstall all other hardware. Again, 2 flat washers go first, 1 lock washer, and then hand tighten the lug nuts. Then use a wrench to tighten all the nuts snug. Do not over tighten, just get them snug. Reattach a cable tie to connect the wiring harness to the fan grate. Now we can reinstall the fan. If you are just replacing the fan onto your old motor, try to line up the set screw on the shaft as it was when you took it off, or at least as close as possible. Make sure the set screw is facing up as it is here. Now hold your crescent wrench on the shaft and square the flat side of the shaft to the face of the set screw. Then put the wrench back on the shaft and try to turn the fan a little bit. What this does is, if it wasn't perfectly square, it will slip square. Now tighten up your set screw. Do not over tighten, just get it snug. Reach through the top of the heat pump to push this grommet out. Align the wires and insert them through the holes as shown. This is a new motor, so the wires have new connectors on them. Then flip the fan grate over and reinstall. Cut the end of the cable tie and make sure it's a tight connection. Screw in the fan grate. Again, do not over tighten. Just snug up these screws. Push the wires through the grommet and reinstall the grommet. Use pliers to remove the old wire still attached to the fan capacitor. The color should be the same, so your install should be easy. Put these 2 wires back onto the fan capacitor as shown. Then attach the white wire to the top right of the fan relay. Then attach the black wire to the bottom left pole on your contactor, as shown. or green ground wire gets screwed into the back wall of the enclosure as shown. Attach a cable tie to the wires, keeping them neat and organized. Reattach the enclosure front with the computer control board as shown. Then reinstall the front of the heat pump and you've completed the fan and the fan motor replacement.